Call the meeting to order. Mr. Kerrigan, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Moving on, we'll go to approval of the agenda. Oh, I'm sorry, roll call. I guess I should have done that before we did the pledge.
Mr. Carano.
Here.
Mr. Kerrigan. Here. Ms. Cooney. Here. Mr. Curtis. Here. Mr. Dortch.
Here.
Mr. Finland. Here. Mr. Flynn. Here. Mr. Hall. Here. Mr. Hawkins. Here. Mr. Humke. Mr. Sullivan. Here. Ms. Weber. Ms. Zadra.
Okay, now that we do have a quorum, approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Public comment. I do have one public comment card. James Kazera.
Yes, my name's James Kazera. I'm a Reno resident, and I would like a copy of the grandfather clause of the Reno rodeo and the fair, and it must have happened back in '59 before this group was met, but I have a problem with the Reno rodeo, but I also am in touch with a group that is trying to get the state fair going again, and I told them that they would have to have a copy of that to see if they get the grounds free or if they have to pay again, and I would like that. And if anyone has any knowledge of the name or the title, because the county wants the name and the number of that bill to find it. So if any of you have that, I would like that. Thank you.
Have you requested that from our staff?
Yes, and they don't have it. Everyone seems to know about it, but no one has actually seen the document, and it's been since '59, and it's a long time
Okay.
ago.
Brett said he would look into it, so
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Any other public comment? I have no other public comment cards. Okay. Review and approval of the minutes of July 21st and July 28th. Any changes, corrections? Motion?
Move to approve?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Updates, President's Report. Mr. Kelly.
Thank you, Chairman Dortch. It's been a busy month since our last meeting. Of course, first and foremost on everybody's minds was Hot August Nights. A very successful event this year. I don't know if I was telling Pat earlier. I don't know if it was any larger than it's been in the past, or just because of the situation this last year, we appreciate them more. But it was a great event. All the hotel properties had a lot of success. They used 3 of our 4 venues, which did extremely well. The sale did exceptional. Big Boy Toy Store, as well as the memorabilia fair out at the Livestock Event Center. Just a great event for all of us. Right prior to that, the RTO, another successful year. This was one of our first through our marketing department in Charlotte, actually, and with the assistance of our sales department, where we actually got more involved with our sponsorship. We sponsored the Fiesta Loco the Fiesta Loco tent on 18 with the Bring Your Meeting Home message. Got a few leads, not a lot, but I think it was very well received and a far better use of our sponsorship monies than we've got in the past. We had a number of guests up here from our convention sales department, our bowlers, popular entertainment, and media that played golf with us during the week as well as during the Pro-Am. Very successful event for us again this year. Followed right on was one of the more unique events right on the tail end of Hot August Nights. For the first year we hosted the United States Science Fiction Fair, which was a little different than what we'd seen in the past, but their attendance was up. Had a great experience here in Northern Nevada, and optimistic that we'll get them to return. A lot of fun and a good group midweek in August. right on the back end of Hot August Nights. Many of you all are aware we approved it last month, but we'll kick off the inaugural Sierra Summer Festival tomorrow night out at the Livestock Event Center. Got a full weekend of activities, both Friday and Saturday. We'll have monster trucks in the main arena at 6, followed by roller derby in the exhibit hall at 7, demolition derby at 7:30 in the rodeo arena. And then Jack Ingram, country music singer, on Friday night in a concert, and then on Saturday night the Romantics. Sunday is more of a Latin day. We do have an arena cross event in our main arena, but 2 Latin bands for Sunday. So got a lot of publicity out, and we're cautiously optimistic it'll be successful. Got a good price point on it. A lot of activity. So we're encouraged there. Convention sales. John, very busy month. We had a group up at ASAE where we had the American Society of Association executives. Really good booth traffic. The sales staff did a lot of groundwork, homework prior to the conference, reaching out to attendees, and we're optimistic that paid off for us as well. John was actually at DMAI down in New Orleans at the very end of July, and Wendy is our Chicago-based rep, actually at an event called Connect, which is being held in Chicago this week with 6 of our hotel partners. Really big event. So we're out in full force in making the meeting scene and getting a lot of good leads. We're very encouraged on the activity we're seeing and what we're seeing in the pipeline. And then finally, we have received a letter of acceptance. We filled the position, our other Washington, D.C. sales position. We received the letter of acceptance earlier this week. Of course, nowadays I'll be a little more confident when she punches in on September 6th, but assuming she does, we'll be fully staffed. So with that, we got a lot of activity happening, and looking forward to a great September between the rib cook-off, the balloons, air races, and street vibes. Should be an extremely good month for us. A lot of positive things happening. Happy to take any questions, and with that, I'll conclude my report.
Questions? Seeing none. Thanks, Joe. XL Media, Jennifer. Passing the buck?
Yes. Hi, I'm Wendy Hummer, and I own EXL Media. I handle the media planning and placement for the RSCVA, and I've worked with you guys just about 15 months now. And I'm here to talk about our April through June advertising results in the Bay Area. We finished out the fiscal year of 2010-11. The campaign was actually a March through March campaign, so this April-June was an interim quarterly campaign between the new fiscal, which is July 2011 through June 2012. So that's why we're showing this 3-month campaign, but we are in the midst of a 12-month campaign that is running right now. We're really excited about it, and we're really busy, and I'll touch on that at the end. So to refresh the campaign goals, it runs in the Bay Area. Whoops. The media is radio, outdoor, and internet. The 3 goals are to generate awareness, to drive first-time visitors, people who have never been or needs reintroduction, which is people who haven't been in 10 or more years. And it's to promote lodging and events. Those are our goals to remember as we go through this. This breaks down our spend. This is a co-op campaign, so we do have 4 partners who have participated. You can see the outdoor was $184,000, and the partner investment was 48%. The value is $184,000. The radio was $300,000. The partner investment was 33%, and the value was $484,000. And then the internet is RSCVA only. It's not a cooperative effort. So the total cost is $580,000 we received 51% in added media value. And that added media value is us working with the marketing staff on free promotions. It's getting free spots, free outdoor, anything we can do to get you more exposure for your dollar spent. First, we're going to go into the radio a little bit. You can see we ran 12 weeks. There were 4 partners, so each partner received exposure in 7 radio stations for 3 weeks with the RSCVA. The delivery, a GRP is a gross rating point. It represents 1% of a target market. So for the first timers were 2144, and the needs reintroduction was adults 45-64. That's how many points we bought. And that calculates your reach and frequency. So we were able to reach 86% of the first-timer market with a 9 frequency, meaning they would hear the spot 9 times on average over the 12-week period. An impression is it's an ear or an eyeball. So it's somebody hearing the spot, but if somebody hears it 10 times, I hear it 1, that's 11 impressions. So it's not people. We bought a total of 2,700 spots. Each partner invested $25,000 and received $61,000 in media value for an ROI of 244%. And each partner received 397 spots. So for $25,000, and these spots were, shared the Reno Tahoe message with them, I don't think they would have been able to go out and do that for that investment. It was definitely a cooperative effort. And the average cost per spot, and which is good for the Bay Area market, 56% ran Monday through Friday, 6A to 7P. There's a lot more people there, so the spots cost more than Reno. And each partner received 1 dedicated promotion. The RSCVA received 2 dedicated, one of which was, we worked with KMBR, which is the station that runs the Giants, which is huge in the Bay Area right now. And we did a promotion with them with the Reno Aces where they brought up listeners and a DJ came up. So it was really trying to tie in the Reno Aces and what you guys have to offer here with something that people in the Bay Area really love right now is baseball and the Giants. So we really tried to tie the love of what they have here, that there's a love here too. So with the radio, we don't get the database, but the radio stations from all the promotions, they had just about 3,400 people enter the various contests, which is really great. That means people are interested in what we're promoting and what we have to offer. And then also we had 462 clicks from the radio stations to whether it's the partner sites or our sites, which is, again, people don't tend to click out of radio sites. So we were really happy with these results. The next is the internet campaign. And what we thought we'd show you is the types of buys we do. Network buys is when you go out and you work with a company and you target behavioral targeting, retargeting, you hear all these things, and it is all the neat ways to target. We target just people in the Bay Area, people that fit our target market, and typically you can spend a lot there and not get a lot, and we were really happy that it was 68% of our budget but 78% of our clicks. So those network buys enable us to get millions and millions and millions of impressions and awareness for you, but at the same time, it's driving a lot of the visits to our sites. And then the travel weather sites are pushing the message out. Emails and newsletters are where we can talk about events and what's going on, and then the event buys are specific to promote events. These are the results. Non-search is all the buys that are not paid search. Paid search is Google and Yahoo. So it shows you the cost. The impression, again, if we go back to the definition, is an eyeball. So the banner was exposed 3.4 million times in paid search, 35 million times in non-search for 38 million impressions or eyeballs. And we received 82,000 clicks at a cost per click of $1.15. Again, we're really happy for this because we're not selling a retail message. We're not selling a room rate. We're just promoting people to come to Reno and experience Reno and events and all the great things we have. So the fact that we're able to drive 82,000 clicks to the site for $2.15 a click, we're really happy with. And then we have our average cost per impression. We had 429 newsletter signups, 902 planner requests, and the 59 RSCVA meeting RFP views. So this means they went to the RFP page. What we're going to track forward is how many of those actually fill out and are returned. So we're really happy that they're not only visiting the site, but they're taking action. With the campaign, these are the events. So each quarter, we try to focus on events, and these are the events that we promoted during this quarter. And then part of the search that we do is for meetings and conventions. And this is something I work with John and Jennifer and Esther quite a bit with, really trying to build up that traffic to the site. And this enhances the RT Meeting Co-op campaign as well. So we spent just under $2,000, 642,000 impressions. That's eyeballs. If you think about the meeting industry and how many meeting planners there really are that we're all trying to hit, the fact that they saw our ad 642,000 times is very big for this when you consider the publications have 30,000 circulation. 2,700 clicks and an average cost per click of 68 cents. Again, this is a really low cost per click for this industry because it's a very competitive industry. People are in there paying $5 to $10 a click for these terms like conventions and things like that. And those of you who do paid search know that. So we were really happy with these results. We're putting a lot of time and effort and working with staff and adding things like trade shows and sporting events and tying in with the campaign. So this is something we really are putting a lot of effort and time into. And then what's it all mean at the end of the day is the visit RenoTahoe.com. That's where we track our results. So this is comparing April, June 2010 to 2011. We started this campaign in April 2010. So we finally have a year of data behind us that we can track year-to-year comparative. So you can see our visits are up 10%. Our unique visits, which is people who visits is if you visit once, I visit 3 times, that's 4 times to the site. So a unique visit is a person. So 249,000 unique visits. We're up, 276,000 unique visits, up 10, almost 11%. First-time visits are people who only visited the site once during the 3 months. It dropped a little, but that's not a bad thing. That means our site's sticky, and more people are returning to the site. They're not just coming and leaving and never coming back. They're using it to get information. Source of visits. Our direct visits, those are people who type in the site. So those people would have to either know the site or they would have to come from PR or the radio or outdoor efforts. That dropped a little, but you can see the search, visits from search went way up. Most of the search terms are branded versions of Reno or RSCVA or Visit Reno. So if I hear the radio and I see the outdoor, I may not remember the site, I'm going to search for Reno. So an uptick in search is just as good as the uptick in search is higher than the downtick in direct, and that's why our visits overall are up. And referring sites are the other sites like the network buys and weather sites. The most popular pages visited are the homepage, calendar of events, and accommodations. If we go back to our goals, it was to drive awareness, promote events, and lodging. So the homepage is our awareness, the calendar of events are the events, and the accommodations are the lodging. So we're really happy, and you can see that all of those are up. And then the geographic visits, this is the number of people who come from the Bay Area. So this is the entire Bay Area. It's the San Francisco DMA, and when we buy media, we buy by designated market area, which is the Bay Area. So you can see again, we got 54,000 visits from the Bay Area during these 3 months, which is an uptick of 6.7%, which now that's a year into we're really happy that we're still growing that. Our key points, ad spend was relatively flat quarter to quarter. Traffic from search is up due to people hearing the radio, TV, and PR efforts, and then searching for the branded terms. Paid search is also up in traffic. First-time visits are slightly down, but this means there's more repeat visitors to the site because our visits aren't down. Most popular site pages are accommodations and events. This has been one of our goals. And just to touch on what we're doing now, we're running, again, outdoor internet and radio. Our outdoor campaign is if I don't know if you live in Bay Area how you could not see Reno. We have 27 locations running at one time right now throughout the Bay Area. We have, if in the Oakland Coliseum where the Raiders and the A's are playing, we are covering both 2 out of 3 entrances and 1 exits with 3 tri-visions that rotate, so 27 faces there. We have boards in downtown San Francisco. We're covering almost every single freeway in the Bay Area, so the impact of the outdoor along with the radio, where we're running 7 radio stations every single week for 12 weeks, and the internet campaign, I really think we're making an impact, and we're working constantly with the marketing staff on creating unique and different promotions and really making people interested in keeping the curiosity up in Reno, for Reno. So are there any questions?
Questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just say, thank you for the presentation. And this was a big part of our meeting on August 8th at the Sales and Marketing Committee meeting. And this is exciting stuff. We have 4 hotels that are participants in this, and then there's another campaign out there with 2 other hotels, naming the Peppermill and the Atlantis out there. So through all the, the Bay Area campaign and Northern California campaign, this research and everything, this is actually going to benefit from everything we're doing, and it's exciting stuff for me in regards to if we can, get better at this, we can make things hopefully turn on positive. Beth, do you have any comments?
Again, Wendy, excellent job. I think we've really increased, all the numbers, all the right numbers are definitely increasing here, and I think you've done a great job, particularly, and I'm just been very pleased with the outdoor in particular, and the internet and radio you've done has just been terrific. So we're excited about what we're seeing, especially on a property level as a partner, as well as for the RSCBA. So thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
Other, Paul?
I'm just curious, obviously, this is great. I mean, this is the cutting edge of what's happening. I mean, so I'm delighted about it, but I don't understand it. It's okay. I'm wondering whether or not there's any way to track with the facilities, whether there are people that are coming as a result. I mean, I don't know if you chart, like, where did you find out about us, or what precipitated the visit, or how, is there any way to understand whether this effort is translating to action in terms of room nights generated? That's my question.
On the property level as a partner, we absolutely track that, and this has been very effective. There's several ways for us to track it, similar to what she outlaid with internet. We track actually through our website, referrals from the RCBA site, from their homepage where the branded campaign is landed, where these people are directed, and how many come to our site, and then how many of those people actually book. So we're really happy with the results that we've seen. Yeah.
That's
Other questions or comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on, items for board consent, Marketing Committee, Mr. Carano.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'll be. We held a meeting on August 8th, Sales Marketing Committee meeting, and I'll be speaking to and asking for approval of items 7E, F, and G. The first item I'd like to speak to is convention sales. And in your package, you'll see convention sales numbers for the month of June. Don't look real exciting. What happened in the month of June is the convention sales team went and actually did an audit to see what hotels have on their books in regards to certain large groups, and they made adjustments into what the hotels have on their books and what was actually booked. A lot of these groups, some of these groups I should say, were booked years out, and they're recurring business, and so as we've seen recurring business convention groups perhaps fall off, the sales team went out and actually got realistic numbers, and those numbers naturally have gone down. I think the big group is it Wild Sheep that you did that with, and so with that, we had an audit that resulted in a negative 13,000 room nights for the month of June, which then took the total month of June down into a negative 7,000 rooms. You know, the good thing in regards to convention sales is the year of 2010, 2011 year end is June 30, and the good thing that it's gone. You know, I mean, sorry, but you know, you've heard me say that, you know, we're pacing 24%, 25%, 28% all year long. We haven't had a sales team put together for some time, and if I want to go back, it's probably a year and a half, and so and actually longer than that. So now we do have John in place, and so looking forward to. Hopefully in September we'll start seeing numbers get in a positive direction. I know that down at the Civil AC, you know, I see a little bit more activity our direction, and so things are starting to feel better. And with that, I'd like to have John comment on some of the things you're doing in convention sales.
Thank you, Mr. Carano, and I know this sounds like a broken record, so you know we probably could have replayed last month and heard some of the same things, but the reality is our turnover of our sales staff is impacting our performance. The positive news is we got great players in place to make the impact that we need to be making, and that we will realize those results. Just as a reminder, I've got 4 managers currently on my staff with less than 4 months of sales experience. They started in April, and I have 1 manager with more than 1 year's worth of sales experience. Okay, I've got 2 managers that'll hit a year in right about now. So we're in the process of developing the markets. Also, it's I hate to remind everybody of this, but it's important to realize, one, it takes time to rebuild those relationships in the market. We've had a database that's been in disrepair, and we've got that focus now. So we will see the returns on that focus. Hopefully, my goal is, you know, within this year, by December, we're going to start hitting our stride because of the focus that we have. That MDI data project that I've presented several meetings back has been phenomenal in helping create that focus and that awareness. Number of other great activities. Joe mentioned earlier the ASAE. We walked away with from that with 14 real viable leads that will be processed out here in the coming weeks as we follow up on those appointments. The traffic through the booth was fantastic. With Jennifer's help, we had a great pre-show e-blast. Some things that probably from a look and feel, we hadn't seen that quality in a while. Mentioned that Cindy is at Connect today, this week. This is in front of 600 really high quality meeting planners. We actually have podium time in front of them where we got 5 minutes hitting 600 meeting planners, showing our video and talking about Reno. We got 6 hotels there. Each hotel has their own satchel, if you will, of 30-some different appointments. So we got a lot of messaging going on there. We just launched a 2012 business development opportunity where 11 of our hotels bonded together to offer some incentive to meet here in 2012. That e-blast went out yesterday, and we probably reached out to 10,000 some planners in our database, and we've already got 40 requests for information back last night. So we got some good activity to try to impact 2012. We got a FAM trip coming up right over balloon races. We have 20 really high quality customers coming in. Real excited about that. We know that we get a great return on those 20 customers. We got sales trips, Kansas City, Southern California, Northern California, Portland, Seattle. We're out there. The good news, our funnel is up 5%. I need that to be much bigger than what it is. But from January, our sales funnel is up 5%. I'll take that. It really needs to grow exponentially. You know, it's not anywhere where it needs to be at, but I'm confident with the team. We've got trade ads coming out in the sports market. We're hitting some of the association market here real soon to try to build out that awareness. Wendy reported on what's happening through the web traffic, which is real exciting to see. So the good news is we're getting that visibility that's out there. Got the new sales manager that's starting September 6th, and real excited about what she's going to bring. And so I think we're going in the right direction. It's just the amount of time it takes to turn around a sales organization. And if I have any surprises in the year that I'm coming up, it's also the recruiting process. That has been a real challenge. But I like the team I've got now, and I'm excited, and we're going to deliver for you guys.
Okay, so I know this is more of a guess on your part, but how long before we get to throw away this broken record?
My sense is that I will start having the pipeline that I need to have starting to get filled to the level it needs to be filled at around December, January, and we'll start seeing the closures in around that March, April timeframe. Because it takes a sales manager a good solid 12 months to really hit their stride. And so you're at that 6-month mark is where you're starting to see your pipeline get filled.
So based on that, how do you feel about your goals for this year?
We're going to fight like hell to make them.
Okay.
And the goal was the right goal. I'm not going to shrink away from that, but we're going to fight like hell to go make it happen. I got the team that's charged up. I got a team that gets it. They know what to do, and we got the right focus.
Other questions? Beth?
John, can you tell us a little bit about the person you hired for DC?
Yes, her name is Allison Farr. She come to us direct from a property level, the Lansdowne Conference Center in the DC area. Tough sell in that market. There's a lot of great quality products, so she's used to selling something that requires a hell of a lot of effort to go get the deal closed. Strong prospector, business developer, great at relationships. She's got some pretty good relationships in the market that we need to be in the contacts and relationships there. But what I really like about her is her skill set. You know, she got a really strong business development skill set, client relationship skill set, great work ethic. Yeah, I think she'll do a good job for us.
Is she currently located in DC?
She is in DC.
Okay.
Thank you.
John, did you find the new incentive program helpful in your?
Oh, they're so excited about it.
recruitment?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, very, very well received. Thank you for that support for that. The salespeople are charged up by that, and it was spot on with what we need to do to drive the opportunities here.
Other questions, comments?
Well, just to comment in regards to John, I think John's, he's on the right track in regards to being aggressive, and I know he's got one campaign to be working on in regards to going out and getting the meeting planners potentially to sign up a program to get someone else calling for Reno, Nevada, and calling for us. And so we're gonna need to be aggressive. The incentive program, we now have an incentive program in place, so that and the incentive program is actually to reward bookings for 2012. The near-end bookings. So the sales staff should be incented to get some business in here as quickly as possible. And I know the entire city is feeling that same crunch too. All the hotels are going above and beyond to jump on board. So for me, I feel a good positive vibe in the sales convention part of Reno right now. And Pat, I'd love to have any of your comments, and Beth, and Freddie, how are you feeling up there?
It's been a great summer. A general comment, I think it's a process, and I think everybody does want to know the answer to when do we see the results, but from what I've seen is there's been an open and honest approach to the sales process. And I think that's important as well. No longer are we looking at numbers that are inflated, that don't make sense, that makes us, it made us feel good to think that there were numbers out there, but they weren't real numbers. Now I think we're in a process where we move forward, and I think that we're in the best position we could possibly be in.
Thank you. Pat?
I think from my perspective, what I've seen, especially over the last 6 months, has been, obviously we all know the challenges with building a new sales team, and I think everybody in this room and in this destination want to see immediate results. But I think based on the team that I've seen you build, I've seen a lot of change within the the whole sales structure. Things are more organized, things are more thorough, things are more thought out better, more strategic. I'm certainly seeing better quality leads. I think the leads are more thorough as well. There's more information. I think that's something that's been lacking for quite some time is our leads that are more targeted. So I think overall, from my perspective and what I've seen over the last 6 to 8 months is positive improvement. And I think going back and looking at some of the things that you've done with the database, garbage in, garbage out. And I think that as you've done in terms of cleaning up the database, being more structured, more organized, I think we'll see results sooner than later.
Anybody else?
Good. Okay. Thank you. Beth, you got some more? Go ahead.
Concur with the comments already. I know we gave you a pretty hard time at the marketing committee meetings.
It was a 3-hour.
Yeah, it was.
It was tough.
So we appreciate how well you stood up to that. But I think in general things are going very well, and we're excited about what you've been able to lay the groundwork for. And certainly this next year is not going to be any picnic. I do want to share from a property perspective that it's no picnic for anybody. I mean, even teams that have been around for quite a long time are really struggling. So I think it's a big challenge, but I'm hoping that you've got all the things laid out to make that happen. So thank you.
Okay, Johnny, thank you very much for jumping in and helping out there. So next into my next comments will be on tourism, and when you look at the tourism data in your packet there, you'll see again numbers that are awful. Excuse me. But the reason why you're seeing those is because those numbers do not reflect the entire community reporting their numbers. What's supposed to take place is that 10 hotels are supposed to report their wholesale numbers, and I believe we missed. We have not received numbers from 3 hotels, which and they're 3 large hotels, which are not reflected upon positive numbers for tourism. So, really, when you look at the tourism report in your packet there, it's actually those are room nights that are actually come in the month of June, and they're reported as room nights booked that not booked but actually actuated in the month of June. So if you again go back into your finance packet and you see what's encouraging to me is even though the month of June was not a good month for the city of Reno. For I should say Washoe County, room nights are down 39,833 room nights, are down 7.5% for the month of June. If you remember, last June we had the volleyballers and we had some pretty big stuff there. So June, June was not a great month, and again that would reflect into this tourism deal. I just making a simple comment. The year to date, and I'm not sure we all look at this and understand, but hear it loud enough. But year to date, actually, we're pretty flat. Year to date, occupied rooms is only down 6,939. Again, 39,000 of that was in the month of June, if I'm reading the packet right. So, tourism again is really a reflection on what happened that month, and so if those numbers were reported, they would 100%. Again, we're missing 3 hotels. Those numbers would be reported down substantially, I imagine. We are still working, Jennifer and John helped me out. We're actually still working on updating these numbers.
Absolutely. And just so that everybody is aware, past practice was if a hotel did not report their June of 2010 numbers, if they did not report their June of 2011, past practice would have just been to report whatever they did in 2010, which is not accurate. So we're doing a better job getting out a little earlier, getting hold of our stakeholders and making sure we get those numbers turned in. It's more of an effort of us just getting after the hotels. That was Ms. Cooney brought up at the marketing meeting. They all have the hotels, just a matter of them taking the time to get them to us.
So Joe, we had the same issue last month. I think we had a couple hotels that didn't report on last month. So once we got those numbers in, how did our numbers look?
Well, we need to go back here and backtrack into June's numbers. So May's numbers, we were down, but I don't have that number off the top of my head as far as.
So maybe in our future packets, when we don't get the full report here, maybe update us so that we see. I mean, because all we're seeing is that we didn't meet the numbers, but we didn't get a full report, and then we never see that full report.
I understand, Mr. Chairman. We actually roll it into the year-to-date, but it doesn't actually.
Just so
come
we
forward.
see how we're
Sure.
trending.
Understand.
And that's why I wanted to explain what you're seeing on these numbers. These numbers are in tourism, other than convention, they're reporting book numbers for future. In tourism, these are numbers that actually actuated in the month. So if we're not getting good numbers here, let's just go down over to the finance package and see what's in there, and you'll see that our actual numbers are almost down 40,000 room nights, which is reflected upon the occupancy for the month of. And then again, how much of that was convention sales? I mentioned so much of it would have been the volleyballers. So then the other part would be tourism.
Yeah, I just think it'd be important for us to get the updated report so that we see how you trended towards your goals for that month once you get all the data in, even if it's not ready by the board meeting. And I don't care if we get it in the next packet or if we just get an email out. I don't know how everyone else feels about that, but as long as we get an email out that says, hey, we finally got all the data and here it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with that too if everyone else is.
Good. All right. So we can do that, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Sorry, that's the tourism, and I just thought again, year to date we're basically flat, which is flat good. Optimistically we'll be up next year in the next 12 months. Okay, on to the marketing report. Again, a lot of our marketing report was Excel, the presentation that you just received, and again that speaks to a lot of the marketing that we're actually doing in regards to all the internet marketing, the Facebook, the Twitter, and all that stuff. We also had a report which was a research report, a profile research report that we decided to go ahead and revisit the report. So we're not going to discuss that today because we wanted to send it back and revisit that report. I'm not sure we agreed with all the findings. So the positive thing I think you saw in regards to marketing was a presentation there, and it's a ever-changing and exciting time in marketing in regards to the internet, and then I think the billboard campaign that we have going, albeit 4 hotels plus 2 hotels, and everything taking place in our main market, which is Northern California, is extremely positive. So, the internet's still a huge part of our marketing, and then furthermore, convention sales is a big part of our marketing too. And Jennifer and the internet is promoting and working with convention sales in a big way. One thing about June and the social media and so forth is the numbers are down in June. A lot of that could be because last year the volleyballers came and the volleyballers were doing the social hitting our websites and this, which would take the numbers up too. So a lot of the numbers that we experience come through all different facets, whether it's the FIT, free independent traveler, the conventioneer, the casino customer, and everything. So really the better, in my opinion, the better we do in convention sales, you'll see everything tick up. All right? So with that, Beth, do you have anything to add in regards to marketing? Fred, anything to add from the meeting?
Paul? Microphone. Thank you.
Thanks. Question goes back to the issue of tourism, and my question is, I see that we have tourism sales room night production for June and year to date. There were 67,000 convention rooms, net room nights booked, and 456,000 for tourism, which is about 6 times as many in tourism as convention sales. And my question is, are those, from our perspective, in terms of the collection of the room tax, are they equal? In other words, is a room a room a room, or is it because of the FIT, a tourism sale booked room doesn't get quite as much room tax? Or can you provide me some sort of a understanding of that issue?
Most definitely. In regards to the tourism side, most of those numbers, 85 to 90% of those numbers are going to be OTAs.
Mm-hmm.
And as they're OTAs are bottom fishers.
Mm-hmm.
They're bottom fishers. They're going to get the best rate, the lowest rate in the hotel. And as they get the lowest rate in the hotel, then the RCVAs could collect tax on that rate less the markup. And that markup, say, anywhere from 20 to 25%, or maybe even 30. And so the OTA is actually is an important piece of our business in regards to marketing Reno and a great channel, distribution channel coming to Reno, but it's coming to Reno in a low room rate. And as it comes to Reno low room rate, what happens is we have our conventioneers that are booked for Reno, and then they turn around. How do I get there? Well, I go to Expedia, and I'm going to book Expedia, or I can book directly to the hotel. Well, the hotel rate is $104. The Expedia rate's 69, 59, whatever it is, and guess what? So it comes in at a lower rate, which affects this organization in a big way. So the OTA is something that we're all working on to, and it's just not, believe me, it's not just Reno, it's Las Vegas, it's the entire country, so at any rate, I'm not going to go on record too long on this because we had a lot of work.
I have a comment on that too. I think the thing to keep in mind, Paul, is that if we were in a situation where we were using maximum or close to maximum capacity, we would get into a scenario where we would be, downgrading the business that doesn't make us as much money for the business that makes us more money. Unfortunately, we're not in that scenario. We need everything we can get. So that's kind of the mix.
Okay, so
But the convention sales typically makes more money than the tour and travel.
So I was generally aware of that when I asked the question, but I would say, what I don't know is whether or not we as an organization track that in some way, shape, or form that allows us to understand whether we should be placing more effort and energy into tourism sales, convention sales from that perspective. And the reason I ask that, I see tourism sales, obviously the numbers for June and convention sales were down, but the revenues were up. Total monthly revenues are $120,000 above budget due to increased room tax collections. Room tax collections experienced 17.4% increase from budget. So in June, while the tourism and the convention sales numbers were both down, the revenues were up. So the question then in my mind is, what's pushing the revenues up? Obviously, more rooms.
We could talk to collections.
And I know we'll get into that, but
collections, Brian.
That was actually to budget, to your point. If you look at the comparison to last year, we're actually off 14% to the bad. And again, that was largely due to the volleyball tournament in June of 2010.
We had dropped the June budgets very, very significantly for 11 from 10. So, it's kind of like take away 30, but you're adding 17. You're still down 13. Okay. So we dropped.
In essence, we're down 7.5% in room nights. But because we missed that convention, we're down 14.5% in revenue. So that room rate came in dramatically lower. Okay. But at any rate, again, those numbers you're seeing on the tourism side are most of it's just reported from the hotel, and most of it's OTA. All right. Good. Thanks for it's good that we all participate in that.
Yeah. Any other questions? Comments?
With that, Mr. Chairman, I would, that's my report in regards to items 7, E, F, and G, and so I would ask for someone to make a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
Quiet group.
Second. Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Finance Committee, Mr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As alluded to in Brian's comments earlier, he reported a 17.4% increase over budget for the month of June, resulting in $280,000 in additional tax revenue.
The 12-month revenue increased by 7.3% over budget when compared to the prior year, which equated to an additional $1.4 million in revenue. That was off by $501,000 when compared to the prior year. Year-to-date margins have exceeded budget by $463,000, driven by the higher revenues and offset by lower maintenance costs for the facilities and rescheduling of USBC site fees at the bowling stadium. Year-to-date cash occupied rooms were 83,000 above budget, but 121,000 below the prior year budget. Year-to-date cash average rate was 72.09. That was 14 cents over the prior year, still holding fairly stable in that regard. Year-to-date facility revenues are off by 590,000. Things driving that are lower participation at the bowling stadium, only 2 shows occurring in the Reno Events Center, less attendees at the Reno Sparks Events Center, and fewer rounds of golf at the Wild Creek Golf Course. So overall, there's positive results in comparison to budget, but that's, as Joe alluded to, a numbers game when comparing year to year. The trends are still downward moving in revenues and continue to be an issue. And that's pretty much the results from the finance meeting.
Any questions? Comments? Motion to accept
items H, I, J, K, L, M, N.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
Do we have a second? A motion is second. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item O, Brian.
Thank you, Mr. Dortch. One moment here. We're in front of you today for final approval on the bond resolutions. Just as a reminder, Joe asked that we bring this up to show what we're trying to impact. And again, we're stretching the term of the bonds by 3 years. And we're looking to fix our debt service payments at about $9.5 million. Given what interest rates have actually done in the last month, we may be able to squeeze a little bit more savings out of that than we had presented in July, but that'll be dependent upon the final pricing in mid-September. But again, what our major concern was in fiscal 2016 was that step up to $10.5 million in debt service payments annually. That'd be roughly $1 million increase over what we're looking at for the next 2 to 3 years. So with that, we have in front of you today actually 2 items. We have the bond resolution, which is the last item that you all will be asked to approve to allow us to go to market and sell these bonds. You've approved a number of items in the past, one of which was a sale resolution. The item in front of you is rather lengthy. We have our bond attorney, Kendra Follett, as well as J&A consultants, Marty Johnson and John Peterson, if there's questions as it relates to the transaction. But basically what's laid out in there is the terms and conditions and all the legalese associated with actually issuing the bonds. There was one change made after the information was distributed to you all, and that's on page 45. It discusses the additional bonds test, and that percentage was listed at 100% and is now bumped to 150%. Other than that, what you have in front of you is what we're asking for approval. And if you have any questions, myself or J&A or Kendra would be available to answer any questions.
Can I add something also, Mr. Chairman? This was approved. I'm sorry that Commissioner Humphkeys and Weber aren't here with us today. As you all approved this last month, it went to Washoe County Commission on Tuesday. John Sherman, they made the presentation. The Washoe County Commission approved it unanimously. If you will recall, as part, and I don't know if we need to talk about P at the same time, but we've also agreed at last month's meeting to once we hit a $22 million threshold in our collections, that we'll begin a sinking fund as we move into the future. So basically, what we're asking you to do is to approve what you approved you approved it last month. We took it to Washoe County Commission, who approved it on Tuesday. And I believe as part of statute, Brett, we have to approve it again in its final form today. Is that correct? It's the steps that we've taken. We did approve through Washoe County Commission Tuesday, and now back to you all.
Any questions?
Remind me, that sinking fund, I think it was 5% that goes in the sinking fund over 22 million?
Yeah, it's 5% for the first 2 years, 10% for the 2 years subsequent, and then ratchets up to 15% for the remainder.
Any other questions? Then can we have a motion to approve the resolution with the changes that Brian mentioned? Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item P.
As Mr. Kelly mentioned, this was on the Washoe County Commission agenda on the 23rd, which was Tuesday, and we had agendized this in the event that they made any changes at their county commission meeting, which did not occur. So at this time, we're not asking for any action on this cooperative agreement item.
Now, this agreement only applies to the new issuance, right? So if something happens, if rates go up before we decide not to, and we don't get the benefit of selling these bonds at the rate that we're thinking, and they don't sell, this agreement doesn't apply to the existing bonds, correct?
Brett, can you respond to that? Because we did have an existing agreement, correct. So if we don't, my assumption is we would revert back to the original agreement that we were working with.
This agreement, maybe Kendra, if you have any background on it, this agreement would only affect this new issuance.
Okay, that's the question I had.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, it's just in the event that for some reason these bonds didn't get issued, we don't have a sinking, they're not going to apply this sinking fund
correct.
Or anything to the
Yes.
existing.
The sinking fund's a condition of the
2011 series
2011
bonds.
series bonds.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we would also obviously revert back to the prior schedule that Brian showed and so forth as far as our payments. Right. Correct. But I guess
so you don't
in
need.
essence,
So no action is needed
no,
on
sir,
P.
we actually
then.
can pull item P. There's no action required if you approved this at last month's meeting.
Correct. In
Okay.
July.
This was put on solely in case Washoe County Commission on the 23rd had material changes, which they did not.
So moving on to item Q, Brian.
Oops. This is the re-roof project that we were discussing in the budget process at the convention center. We put this out to bid, received 3 bids, D&D Roofing, Kodiak Roofing, and Alpine Roofing. The lowest bidder is D&D Roofing in the amount of $164,450. The roof that we're replacing is where the Sky Bridge ties into the current facility, so the north end, the concourse. We had $275,000 in the budget, so this was quite a bit lower than we anticipated. There will be some additional costs for a consultant just to monitor the work of D&D Roofing and then any plan check fees we may encounter, but it'll still be well below the $275,000 we had included in the budget. With that, be open for any questions.
Any questions, Jared? No.
Not second.
Got a motion, a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item R is election of the secretary treasurer, and that position has always in the past been held by the chairman of the finance committee. I don't know if Brett, you want to add anything to that before?
Just for edification of new members, under statute, the board is required to elect its officers every even number year. And that's a chair, vice chair, and then secretary and treasurer. The statute also allows us to combine the secretary treasurer position, which historically the RSCVA has always done. With the departure of Mr. DeVold in the odd number year, this board needs to elect a secretary treasurer to fill out that unexpired term until next July. So that's why this item's on today. So you can nominate a person, make a motion to elect the finance chair who's typically been it, or have other discussion.
Just a clarification, everyone gets to vote on this, not just the electeds?
Correct. This is a full board decision.
Okay. I move to elect Kevin Sullivan if he's willing to be the new treasurer secretary.
Well, I'm not going to recognize him, so I'm not going to let him. We've got a motion. Do we have a second? Got a motion, a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item S, discussion, possible action, and a direction to me regarding the continuation of the RSCVA President CEO search and other matters properly relating thereto. Just kind of an update. I've been working with Searchwide, trying to move forward. They couldn't be here today. They have been continuing the search just as they are under contract to do up to this point. They informed me yesterday that they have identified a few additional candidates. They are, like I said, they're continuing their contract just as they're contracted to do. We've had some discussions regarding the process as far as once it gets to the board. I think all of us would agree that it was still a little uncomfortable how we did that process at the end last time. And we really haven't come up with solutions. So my recommendation is that we send this to the Finance Committee, which is also the Personnel Committee, this next month. Searchwide will be in town. I think I've asked Charlotte to kind of coordinate with them to see if those dates are okay with them. I don't know if we've gotten an answer yet. If not, I think the Finance Committee should have a special meeting with them to go over this issue, to iron this process out and make a recommendation back to the board at our September meeting. That's kind of the process I'm looking for. And again, I'm just trying to clean up that final interview process and how we handle that. Again, like I said, I thought, we all kind of agree that it was a little uncomfortable how we did that. I thought the process up to that point worked really well. But I just think the Finance Committee can dig into this a little bit more, maybe come up with some solutions and bring it back to the board. That's where I'm at. I'm happy to answer any questions regarding it. Mike?
I just had a question about why I wasn't uncomfortable with it. I just wanted to know, we're obliged to do things in public. And if that's being uncomfortable, then, we didn't write the laws. And I don't know any other way to do that, where we bring,
Well, that's why I said, I haven't come up with another solution either.
Yeah,
and that's why I said, let's take it to the Finance Committee, have that discussion with Searchwide here. Let them tell us where they're getting pushback from candidates. And see if we can't come up with a good solution, that everyone's comfortable with.
Yeah, and I think maybe that Searchwide ought to let the candidates know that this is a public body and we have to do things in public by state law. And this isn't the first time that I've had to do it, but I think that what we should do is if we find any candidates, we interview their spouses first. And
Regarding the process up until that final point, are we comfortable and are we going to continue to go along with that process with the subcommittee if there are candidates brought to the table?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm comfortable with that. I thought it worked well up to that point. I don't, one of the things that we have talked about, and again, I think we can kind of hash this out at the Finance Committee meeting also, one of the things that has come up is it has been a challenge recruiting candidates, and maybe the mayor or the mayor and myself or other stakeholders can go out where they've identified possible candidates and talk to these people there and try and convince them to apply for the job, to try and build that pool so we get a larger pool. But I think if anything in the process, the stakeholder group I thought worked very well.
As far as candidates that are being looked at now, are there any of the previous candidates that were interviewed before stepping back into the fray?
I haven't heard that. That I know of. Certainly, I can ask Mike that and find out.
And are we offering a competitive salary?
That's one of the things.
Like we are, but
one of the things that I want to bring back to the Finance Committee is Charlotte got a bunch of data for me that I haven't had a chance. I just got it yesterday, and I haven't had a chance to go through it on what other markets are doing. And I want to bring that. I want to have that ready for the Finance Committee to look at also to make sure that we are, I know one of the challenges, and Mike's brought it up before, is he's concerned about the fact that the city managers, the county managers have all taken cuts in pay. My biggest concern, though, is we've got to be competitive in the CVB market. I'm not out there trying to hire a city manager. I'm trying to hire a president of a CVB. And I want to make sure that we're competitive in the CVB market. So I want to bring that data back to the committee also, and again, take that so that we can kind of work through that and hash that out and bring something back to the board if need be. But to me, I appreciate what Mike's saying. We are a public entity, and we've got to look at what the other entities are doing, but we've got to run this agency as a CVB. And if we're not competitive in that market, then we need to know it, and we need to get competitive. That's my opinion. So.
And I agree with you. And not only, we're more than your typical CVB because of the other institutions that we've got to run. So not only do we need to be competitive in that market, but realize what that person needs to run on top of it, so.
Right.
I agree.
I don't disagree with you at all.
100%.
So those are the things I'd like to have worked out at the finance committee. Like I said, I just got this data yesterday, or I'd present it today, but I want to get through it, get it to the finance committee, let the finance committee hash this out, and then make a recommendation to the board in September, if everyone's okay with that. Okay. I don't know that we would need a motion for that, do we? Okay. Any other questions regarding?
Can you share the competitive, just out of curiosity, with everyone?
I certainly can.
Before the
Actually, I think
finance
we can get
committee?
those,
That'd be
probably send
great.
those reports out to everybody
I'd just
now.
like to look at them. Thank
I don't
you.
have a problem with everybody getting those and taking a look at them, and if you have comments on them, if you're not on the finance committee, yeah, get them to us, the people that are on the finance committee. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Congratulations, Mr. Sullivan.
Items for future board meetings? Seeing none. Board member comments? Okay, public comment at the end of the meeting. Anybody in the public have anything they would like to add? Seeing none, I'll take one last motion. Motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? All those in favor? We are adjourned.